How does it feel to win such a prestigious award?
Yeah, I think, every coach would like to win, and every coach actually does what the award says. They influence their players. But to be chosen for a national award like that, I've watched for years. I'm a life member of the AFCA. I love the AFCA. And then to finally be chosen for that award, I mean, it means the world.
Yeah.
Very, very humbling.
Well, just like me, you've done this a long time as well. Where have you changed through the years? Where has Coach become different, learned a lesson or two, made a mistake or two you had to correct and all that? Where's your biggest change?
I think, year in and year out, you kind of have to adjust to the climate, if you will. You have different parents, you have different kids, there's different emphasis for, different things, and you kind of have to feel your way and adjust and try to maintain your discipline and your philosophies of your program. And there's certain things that you're not going to, bend on. Mm-hmm. But then to try to win people over to what you're trying to accomplish, which is to make, better men.
Yeah, what is your philosophy? I mean, you've had so much success at New Canaan, state championships, wins, and all that. What's that cornerstone that you came in with that hasn't changed?
Well, you try to make team, and I think it's so hard for any coach in any sport to make team today. But I've been very fortunate. The last 4 years, we've really been able to make team. You can win with talent, but you can lose with talent. We've also lost with talent, where the emphasis was, where am I going? I can't wait to get to college. And then they finally get there, and then they wish they were back with us. But in the past few years, we've been able to catch that, and it's magical, where they care about each other. Coaches, there's no egos. My staff is tremendous. We all get along. We go out together with our wives, girlfriends, or whatever. And once you catch that, if you could just keep it in a bottle and every year use it, because it's tough to beat team. It really is, and that's really the secret sauce.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about, because I'm assuming you've got some kind of lifetimers there, right, on the staff with you.
We sure do. Yeah.
You don't win an award without a good staff. But what are some of the things that you look for in an assistant coach? Not the guys that have been there for a while, but if somebody comes to you and says, "Coach, I want to get into the profession," what are you going to tell them, and what are you looking for?
You're looking for a guy that really wants to help people. That. I don't care what they know as far as knowledge. We'll teach them the techniques and our philosophies and things like that. But you're looking for a good person that is trying to help people along the way. That's really, and I don't care. I've had all kinds of assistants over the years. And if you can find a guy that really has the player's best interest, not what's in it for me. Oh, I got coach of the year or something like that. But truly want to help kids get to not the next level in football, but the next level in life. I have kids come to me and, what am I going to do next year, Coach? And I'll help them to try to get to a college that fits them. And if they play football, it's a bonus. But just to get someone that really cares about kids, I guess.
You touched on your coaches being important to you getting this award and what you do there, but we probably should talk about your real assistant head coach, because you can't do it without a better half. I have one of those. You can't do what you love unless you have that. Talk about the support you've had and how she's integrated into what you do for a living.
My wife is, we're a really good team. She's bought in. She actually teaches football to the moms, football with Franny. But she is 110% behind everything that we do. She's always there. She's way ahead of me as far as being an advocate for football and for guys playing football. So she's been great. I wouldn't be where I am without her.
Your son, he's, like you said, he's on the sidelines right now. Maybe you're going to get him on the sideline. But what was the advice you gave him when he wanted to go into the so-called family business of coaching?
It kind of happened by accident, where he had played for us, had a nice career, and then I went into business then was kind of wavering, didn't know what to do. So he started coaching. Then he caught the bug, and he became my offensive coordinator. We won a couple of state championships with him. But then I have like seven guys that played for me that are now on my staff.
So the tree didn't grow; it just stayed in New
Right,
Canaan.
yeah, right. Yeah, and so anyway, I wanted him to. It was time for him to move on, and he took the Greenwich job, which is one of the best jobs I think in the state of Connecticut, if not the Northeast. And he really built team. He did a great job. Then he wanted to try the college thing, which he did, and he was moving up there. Then there's different turns in life, but hopefully I can get him back with us.
Yeah, but he beat you.
What
was that conversation like?
I'll tell you what it was like. So we get beat, and it wasn't even close. I mean, it was like 32-0, but it could have been 60. Thank God, But and I had five Division I players. But he made team, and like we were talking about before, when you have team, it's tough to beat. But just a funny story afterwards. So we get beat. I go home. I'm going right to bed. So my wife says, "Well, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm going to sleep." I said, No, you're not going to sleep. I said, "What do you mean?" "We're going to Johnny's victory party." I said, "There's no way. I'm not going. I'm just telling you, I'm not going." She said, "Oh, yes, you are." I said, "Oh, no, I'm not." I went. And I'm so glad I did.
I was just going to say, probably in hindsight you did.
Yeah.
Just a couple more for you.
Sure.
So, as you look at, we were talking about this when I was talking about people and the profession itself. Do you feel, like I asked you the question, that guys are going to stay in it as long as you do under the current system with the pressures of?
I don't know. I hope they do. I don't know if they will, because the pressure to get your son to a higher level, and then we're seeing this in public schools especially. I think my son can get recruited better at a private school, and you're not living up to it. I had a parent tell me, "Your platform isn't big enough for my son." I said, "Really? We got 3 guys in the NFL. We have 26 kids playing in college. I don't know how much bigger your platform is going to be." And I said, and I usually bet the parent, wherever you take him to go and wherever he decides to go to college, I'll bet you anything he could have got there from here. So, and going back to your original question, a lot of guys are saying, why put up with that? Why, and then the kids feel like, they go home and they have dinner with their parents. I say, "That coach isn't doing right by you. You should be getting this guy, and you're not getting letters, and you're not being recruited." And meanwhile, the process takes time, and it's relationships that the high school coach has with the college coaches that helps put people where they go. So I don't know. It takes a special kind of guy to do that, where they're more concerned about the kid than the parent and everything else. I mean, there are times when it's almost abusive what parents do to their kids, because they're not playing. I think when this thing all started, it was to teach kids about work ethic. It was to teach kids about achieving goals, about discipline, about doing those things that are going to make them successful in life. I don't know. Now it's more about I got to play for a scholarship, or I got to play to get a better school. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard, and I'm not always right, but I'm right a lot of times about kids and about parents.
Yeah, it doesn't change. It doesn't change. 2 more for you.
Sure.
Put on an ambassador hat. Connecticut doesn't necessarily take center stage, but I'm going to have you on a
Sure.
pretty nice platform. Put on the ambassador hat. Connecticut football. Talk a little bit about it. Where is it today? How good is it? How good is it growing? Talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like 135 schools that play football in Connecticut, public schools. There's a lot of private schools as well that you have. But I think it's really come along. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, but I know we have a bunch of guys in the NFL but people don't talk about it. I know Noel Mazzoni made a comment when he was being interviewed at Arizona about he hired my son, and he said, he comes from Connecticut. I don't even know whether they play football in Connecticut, but it's a lot of well-kept secrets up there that you find. And there's been a bunch of guys that have gone to the league, and certainly Division I colleges through. And then I think the fact that UConn has gotten better has really helped, because now we can take a team up and we can show them, UConn, and they're playing, some of the best teams in the country. And then there's a lot of, you got Yale, you got Wesleyan, you got Trinity, you have Southern Connecticut, you have Central Connecticut. So there's a lot of colleges there, so which feed the Connecticut High School feeds them. So, but I think it's definitely getting better each year.
And did you get to do any of the seminars this week at all?
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you this: is again the old guy to old guy. Did you learn anything this week coming?
I always learn stuff.
What'd you learn?
That's why I come here. Actually, I learned a lot about kickoff, some drills and stuff that we're going to use. Just coming down here in the exhibit booth, and it's going on right now, just different little techniques. And I take notes all the time, make sure I get the guy's name so that we could take a spring trip and go down and learn maybe how to do it a little bit better, because we don't have the corner on the market on how to do it right, but you're always trying to learn from different people. I've learned from youth coaches, so even you watch a game and you pick up a couple of things, whether I go to Pop Warner games or youth football games, and you see things, you say, oh wait, I might be able to try that, and how do you teach that? And I think you're always trying to learn about, and that's the beauty of coming down to this, especially. Not only do you get a lot of ideas here, but just having lunch with a guy, or in the tailgate party they had last night, you just sit down and say, how do you defend this? I've gotten so much from the AFC conventions, AFCA conventions, just by socializing with guys, because there's so many coaches, and you all come together, and you might be in a lecture, and you say, well, this is what we do. What do you do? And how do you teach that? And just trying to get better at what you do.